Hello, career thought leaders. Good to see you here today. And we are coming live from Lisbon. So we just got done with dinner here in Lisbon, about 5 hours behind those of you on the East Coast in the US. London, same time as London, and obviously the same time you always are, but I'm later. So we're excited to have you all here and to talk about some of the new things that are going on in LinkedIn and some of the old things that I wonder if you still have access to, because I don't, based on some new research from Social Insider on what types of posts do well. Now, a few weeks ago, we talked about the LinkedIn algorithm report from Richard Vandenbloom, and maybe you saw that and have seen those. If not, you can go back and look at that. But this is some new research, was taken through from December to December. 2022 to 2023, and they were looking at some of the changes on LinkedIn and the types of posts. So hello, Laura, it's good to see you. And we here every Tuesday talking about the now, the new, and the next in careers. And I know many of you wanted to join us here in Lisbon, but we're not able to. So we're coming to you in your favorite comfy chair tonight to talk about LinkedIn and the new numbers there. So say hello, let me know where you're joining from. And if you're watching the replay, drop that hashtag replay, and we will love to know where you're joining us from as well. So let's dive into some of this new research from Social Insider. Hi, Laura. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so this new research from Social Insider is kind of interesting because it shows overall increase in engagement that has happened on LinkedIn, but I don't know. It'd be interesting to know where that is coming from, because what I've heard a lot of creators, so people that have been producing content on LinkedIn for a long time, a lot of them are talking about how their engagement has dropped. The number of posts and comments they get, the number of likes they get. So let me know in the comments if you've been writing on LinkedIn for a while. Have you seen your engagement go up or down in the past year? Because this data is somewhat surprising based on the anecdotal information that I hear. And I wonder what's different. Like, are new people getting the more engagement and people that have been on there for a while are seeing less, but overall it's increased? It's just very interesting that this is the data based on what I hear from people. The other thing that I found interesting in their data is that they show multiple pictures as being the best type of post. But when I look at a post that has multiple pictures in it, it's in like a weird collage where it doesn't look good on my end. Like if you try to post multiple pictures, it doesn't look good on my end. And of course, what we recommend doing is instead turning it into a document where then a PDF and it's a carousel, instead of having the multiple images all show up at once. But they've got document as a separate post type, and it's just a little bit lower than multiple images. So multiple images is the top, and then document is the second. But again, I can't see or post a multiple image post. And I believe that went away for most people, but I do still see them every once in a while where they don't look great because all the images are shoved together. So I would recommend using document posts if you want to have multiple pages, and you can make them square. It doesn't matter what size it is. If you turn it into a PDF and you post it on LinkedIn, it becomes a carousel like you would see on Instagram with the kind of thumb through feel for the images. And that was their second highest. And I'd recommend that, since I think they're taking the multiple image post away anyways. Then image comes after that, then video, and then link share. I've got some thoughts about link share, but we'll come back to that. Then text, then poll, then post share. So the other thing that this data does not well identify is whether they're talking about pages or profiles. And there's a few things in their research that makes me think they're talking about pages and not profiles based on a few language things, but they never really say if it's pages or profiles. So the similarities to what we saw in Richard Vandenbloom's report for algorithm, images do well, the document posts do well. His had video doing a little bit better for profiles, I believe. So anyways, just a grain of salt with some of this, because again, they don't really clarify if it's a page or a profile that they did their research on. Okay, so then they talk about how engagement in terms of likes and comments has gone up, and they show that that same pattern is the same for any kind of engagement. So whether you're talking about likes or comments and or shares, it's still the same order where it's images and multiple images, and then images, video, link share, text, and poll. And I've never seen text do worse than a link share in one of these studies either. So I'd have to dive a little bit deeper and just see how they did their research to make this happen. It's interesting that they are showing the link post doing better than a text post. Now, one of the big takeaways, of course, is video and the power of video. Video has increased the most in terms of engagement and all of those things. Video has increased the most. And it's interesting. So their data shows that video gets the most shares of any other type of post. So videos and then documents are the most shared, followed by the images and the link shares, and all of those things go down quite a bit in terms of shares. The top 4, video by quite a bit, and then those multiple images, and then the image by itself. And of course, if you want people to share your content, you want to have to think about, what would my audience want to share with their audience? So a lot of times we just think about what our audience needs. And if we want them to share something, it also has to be something they think would be valuable to their audience. Now, there are times you want to think like that, and times that that's not going to serve your business, right? I'm talking about LinkedIn for your business or LinkedIn for your job search. Just because something is shareable doesn't necessarily mean it's going to bring you closer to your goal of using LinkedIn and what you want to get out of it. So that's the most important thing. So why don't you drop that in the chat? Like, what is your goal for being on LinkedIn? Why do you post on LinkedIn, or why do you use LinkedIn? Is it for clients? Is it to educate people? And it could be multiple, so you don't have to choose just one, but tell me what your goals are for using LinkedIn. And this is a question I feel like our clients have not really thought through, to really understand, why are they trying to use LinkedIn? Why are they trying to build their brand? Why are they building their connections? It seems pretty obvious, but they really haven't connected to that why. And then when things get rough, it's easy to just let go of it because you didn't have a deep connection to why, or your why was maybe unrealistic. If you thought it was going to bring you a bunch of clients, or you thought it was going to get you a job just by being on there, sometimes they have unrealistic expectations. And then when they don't achieve those, they drop out of the system. So getting that goal setting piece might seem a little rudimentary, but what I've found, even for our students in the Certified Digital Brand Strategist program, is that the setting goals piece and what do you really want to get out of it, and how are you going to track that, is important and oftentimes overlooked. So go through that with your clients. Why are they on LinkedIn? What do they want to happen? What's realistic about this? And you can look at some of these engagement rates of the posts and just realize that every single post on LinkedIn has a very low engagement rate. And most of the time when you see people that have a bunch of engagement, they're either doing some things really well. Like I mentioned, Richard van der Bloom, he comments on a bunch of posts every single day. So he's making those connections. He's driving the algorithm to show him to more people because he's engaging, and people think, oh, he's got this viral post. No, he's been creating that community there for years. So it's showing his posts to people that he's interacted with. So we look at these posts, and that might be happening where someone's doing a lot of work to get that to happen. Or it might be that people are in what we call a pod, which means they've agreed with this group of people that one another will go and comment on each other's posts every day at the same time, so that they can populate their own stuff and get it visible to more people. every once in a while, yes, might you have a post that goes viral. Although there was someone that just wrote that they were post their first post on LinkedIn, and it was a really good post. It was a storytelling post. It had a great image. But the reason that they went viral with their first post on LinkedIn is that they sent an email to their list of 10,000 people and said, hey, I'm going to post on LinkedIn tomorrow. It's my first post. I'd love if you check it out. So of course they got a viral post because they emailed their huge email list with an intriguing thing, right? And a good post. We just have to realize that there's a lot of factors that go into that, and that a viral post or one that gets a lot of engagement or lots of whatever comments doesn't necessarily mean that that person's achieving their goal of being on the platform. So we've got to think about, what is that goal and how can you achieve it? And realistically, how can you achieve it over a fairly large chunk of time if you're talking about posting content? Now, when we talk about job search, I talk about some other methods of more direct connection with people. Posting content for a job seeker is too long term. I mean, yes, they can do it and it would still be good for them, but that's not going to help them get a job very quickly. So there's some other more specific commenting techniques, messaging techniques that they will want to use it as a networking platform versus using it as a branding platform and creating content. So when we think about that, more people are posting more. This was one of the other LinkedIn statistics by Social Insider, is that people are posting 10% more than they did a year ago. So you've got more people posting more times a month, and that we're starting to see the consistency, of course, of more people grow, which means that more people are going to be fighting for the same amount of eyes. Really, I mean, LinkedIn likes to say they have more users and more active users and those types of things, but that has not grown that much. When you see the 10% growth in people posting, that's outpaced the growth they have in real people, real people using it on a regular basis. So I'm just come back here and check some of your comments. Feel free to just share, are you seeing more engagement on your posts now or less? And then why are you posting on LinkedIn? What are you hoping to achieve from doing that? And, how can you help your clients set those goals as well? So polls used to generate the highest impression rate. That data has shifted a little bit, where we're seeing more of the documents and some of those things generating a higher rate. In the documents and the images, it really just depends on how good it is, right? The infographics and the cheat sheets were doing really well for a while. A cheat sheet still does okay. Polls have kind of gone up and down. They're showing here as getting the most impressions, although they get less engagement, which is interesting. And what good does your poll showing in front of someone do if they're not going to click on it, engage with it? You're not getting any data from that. So it's not bad, but you just want to think about that poll not only being engaging, but in some way educating people about what you do. If it's going to get a lot of impressions, that's great. But what does that do for your goals? How can you get people to engage with that, or to maybe even put something in a message to you if they're seeing your poll, but they're not comfortable engaging with it? And you always want to think about questions in any form, but especially in polls, and ask, direct call to action questions, being things people want to answer, being things that people are okay answering in the public sphere. Otherwise, all of those numbers are going to drop off anyways. People with pages with the multiple images have the highest engagement rate. We talked about that. I would recommend putting that into a document with carousel instead of trying to do the multiple images, even if you still have the option. And then they looked a little bit at caption length, and I find this fascinating. So when you do different types of posts, different captions do better. So short captions do really well when you have multiple images, and then pretty much every other thing stays the same. There wasn't hardly any difference in terms of caption rate for any of the other types of posts. So whether you're talking about an image or a document or a video, the stuff is all pretty across the board in terms of engagement, no matter how long your caption is. So the post that you're doing it. But definitely shorter if you're doing a carousel post, to have shorter content, which is interesting. They should less than 19 words, so fewer than 19 words. Excellent. So kind of big picture is that you look at the overall post, the carousel with the multiple images, the document, which is going to be that one infographic or a cheat sheet. In our digital branding class, if you're in that class and you haven't checked it out, we created a few cheat sheet templates for you, just so you would have some ideas of things that you might create in a cheat sheet. Um, and then to always kind of pay attention to what's going on in the trends and how that might apply to you. So like I said, cheat sheets were hot for a little bit. Now we're actually seeing articles and newsletters being promoted more by LinkedIn. So that might be a time to launch your newsletter. If you've never done it and you thought, oh, everybody's doing it and it's too saturated, now is the time to launch that newsletter, because they're back up in terms of visibility, with getting people notified and just sharing them in people's notifications in general. Even if they subscribed a long time ago, you're seeing that resurgence of the newsletter in there. So if you have a newsletter, let us know. We'd love to support you. And Laura says she's posting one time a week. Yeah, one time a week is a great cadence for people to get active on LinkedIn. Shifting to commenting. Yeah, so about the past 2 years, maybe 2.5 years, we've been teaching what I call a comment first philosophy. So you start with focusing on comments before you worry about posting content. And I found that this is really effective for job seekers, obviously, who struggle with what kind of content to post. We've been doing a lot of helping them figure out how to find people to connect with, how to find people to comment on their posts, and then setting up that process for commenting on a regular basis. And that's the process that we've been teaching in our digital branding class now for the past, as I said, 2.5 years. Some of you loved my post from the other day where I showed you how to create the stream on LinkedIn, where you can create the custom searches. We've been teaching that for 1.5 years. So this is the program where you get the leading edge of how to use LinkedIn, not just your profile. We talk about profile optimization and storytelling, and that's a really powerful piece. But we also talk about how do you teach people to use the platform in a way that's comfortable for them and in a way that is consistent with the networking heart that we all want to bring to this type of platform and engagement and relationship. And how do we help them learn that and execute it? I mean, that's what coaching is for, right? Is helping someone execute it. They can read the how-tos online. Sure, lots of them will have read my post on the how-to, but they don't know how to do it. They need a coach to walk them through that. And that's what we teach you how to do when we give you a process for it. We also give you the process to sell it and the community support around you to make sure that you can do that and implement that for yourself. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Kate Pozesnik and I will be teaching that class starting next Thursday on the 18th. And we'd love to have you in the class, love to see your transformation, like we've seen the transformation of so many other of our digital branding strategists. And we've got tons of testimonials on the sales page for that. And we'll be putting up some more. Actually, that was one of our projects for this week, is to get up even more, because this is the program that we get just transformation from people. The coach who's diving deep into this piece for themselves, and then of course the content that they're able to bring to their clients. So let me know if you're interested in that, and happy to get you more information or jump on a call and answer any questions about building your digital presence and helping clients do the same. Anyways, next Tuesday, we'll be back with the Now, the New, and the Next in Careers. And we are excited to share with you, the latest. So let us know what questions you have, what content we can cover. If you have questions specifically about LinkedIn, next week will be our last in this little LinkedIn series. So if you have questions about using LinkedIn, feel free to message me or send me an email, and we'll add those to our little list that we have of questions that people have asked over the last few weeks. So we'll be back next Tuesday with the Now, the New, and the Next in Careers. And bye from Lisbon. We miss you all that couldn't join us this time. And we will be announcing, so that's the other thing, we will be announcing on Thursday where we will be for 2025 back on the East Coast, and our symposium, that really the opportunity to gather with the brain trust in the careers industry and talk about what's next, create what's next in our field. Thank you, everyone. We will see you next Tuesday.